Doc Rivers, wonderful to see you. Thank you for sitting down. What I'd love to hear first is how you spent the last few months. I know that the season didn't end the way that you wanted it to, but what did you do to sort of refresh and reset and look ahead?
Well, the season didn't end the way we wanted it to. Probably only one team did the season end the way they wanted it to. But looking back before I look forward, I thought the season overall was a huge success as far as reestablishing the Sixers as a team that you're going to have to deal with. The summer, it was fun. I didn't do much. Went on quick trips, did a lot of golf, a lot of bad golf. I had a 60th birthday golf trip, which was fantastic. A lot of my ex-teammates went, and a lot of my friends. So other than that, just that was it. And dealt with basketball business. The summer never, the season never ends anymore like it used to.
Because you mentioned golf, I have a couple follow-ups there before we move over to the real stuff. When Seth sat down, I asked him, what was the best course he played this offseason?
He was going to say Fisher's Island.
He did?
Yeah.
What was the best one you played this offseason?
Fisher's Island, yeah.
What's the best course you've ever played?
Well, Augusta, yeah.
He said St. Andrews. Have you done that one?
I've done St. Andrews.
Wow,
but,
and Augusta's better.
Yeah, Augusta's the best. It's the best.
Well, I'm glad you got that time out there. Glad he got that time out there. I'm glad that people have these releases. It's really cool to hear about it. Let's talk, though, about the court. Let's talk about what we're about to do. Joel Embiid coming off of an MVP caliber season.
Yeah.
What I'm curious from you, now having coached him for a year, seen him in an off season, what's something you didn't know about Joel that you know now from having been his coach?
Well, number one, he's better than I thought. I thought Joel was unstoppable when we played him, but I knew he was good. I just didn't know he was this good. Never knew he was MVP caliber good. And he is. He's an MVP waiting to happen. Joel still has so much more to give to the game, and he's doing that. So, and then the other part is his IQ. I think he has an extremely high basketball IQ, which you would never know from afar.
What about Tobias Harris? You have coached him before.
Yeah.
How has he changed since you first coached him a few years ago?
Well, he's playing defense. I told him, I was like, wait a minute, we get a bonus here. Offensively, I was so confident that I knew I can get Tobias to be what I believe Tobias should be, and he did that this year. The bonus for us was his rebounding, his willing to pass, and the biggest bonus was his defense. I thought he gave an effort last year and was terrific.
You've only been with Joel and Tobias together as teammates for a year, but in the time that even I've seen them and in that 1 year, they've really developed a partnership and a respect for each other. And they both sat in that chair and talked about that respect.
Yeah.
What do you see between the two of them?
Well, I think Joel's a superstar. There's not a lot of guys that can do what Joel. And I really think it's almost incumbent on the other guy to start speaking up and telling the superstar what he thinks. And I think that's happened. I think Tobias has gotten comfortable enough to tell Joel what he thinks. I think Joel respects that, and I think that's what allowed their relationship to grow.
We talk now about Tobias and Joel. One of the storylines that we're hearing a lot about today is what's going on with Ben, and I want to give you the opportunity.
One of the storylines. Is there another storyline?
In my chair, we've talked about it all.
Yeah.
So I want to hear what your aspirations are, what your hopes are for the situation we're going through with Ben.
It's a simple answer to a very complicated thing. The simple answer is we want to get Ben back. The complicated part is trying to get Ben back. But I've been in a lot of situations, and the number one situation is we have to take care of the guys who are here, and we have to focus on them. We have to be ready on opening night to win games and play. The second part of that is whatever happens with Ben, and we have to be prepared for that as well. It's a distraction. But as I told our guys this morning before we did media, our goal is to win a title. And as far as I know, there's never been an easy title. And so if this is the hardest thing we have to go through, it's not all bad.
When you've talked about Ben over the last year that you've been here, you've said a lot of great things about his game. Reflecting on the full year, about the body of work that you saw from him, what would you say today makes Ben Simmons so special?
The same thing that made Dennis Rodman special and Ben Wallace special and Rondo special. He has a high IQ. He has the ability to change the game without scoring, but he affects scoring. Ben creates a lot of scoring for our team. And, his next step to me is not shooting the jump shot. His next step is becoming a better free throw shooter. Because I think if that happens, you will see an even more aggressive Ben, a guy willing to get fouled.
Continuing through the roster, in your exit interview and in Danny's exit interview and in Furkan's exit interview, you all expressed a desire to be back together.
Yeah.
And now you are. What are you excited about? Danny first, maybe then Furk. What are you most excited about having the two of them back on the court?
I'm just excited to get them back. Number one, they fit our team well. Number two, last year to me was just the first step. Now we can grow together. They kind of know how we're going to play, which will allow them to be more comfortable. Furk, for a young guy, was playing in a contract year. I think this year he'll be way more confident and not worried about a contract. So, yeah, I just think having their shooting and their talent back will be great for us.
Were you able to watch Matisse Thybulle play in the Olympics?
Yeah, I watched Matisse a lot. First of all, I was so happy for him because I don't see Matisse as a guy that's going to go play for the Australian team, or I didn't. And watching him play brought me an immense amount of joy. I thought if I could pick a team for him to play with other than ours, it was that team because they played hard, they were serious, they moved the ball, and I thought that was a great lesson for Matisse.
Did you see anything in his play with that team that you're hoping translates to this season?
Yeah, I thought he attacked the basket straight line. That's the stuff he did late in the year. Thought he did that well. Thought he became a better passer by playing with better passers. So I thought that was good as well.
Another group of players, new acquisitions, George Niang, Andre Drummond. When I spoke to each of them on their introductory days, they both expressed that playing for you was a huge reason why they wanted to play for the Sixers. What does that mean to you to hear that you sort of have that reputation among players that haven't played for you? And what are you excited about working with them?
Well, I hope they have that same feeling after they play for me because that would be more important. I like Niang is a guy, George Niang is a guy that I've had my eye on for several years. He's just one of those guys that whenever you play his team, he hurts you. He makes shots. He mixes it up. He does the little things. I thought this team was lacking of veterans with grit, veterans with skill, and getting him was huge. And then the same thing, the fact that Andre 3 years ago was an all-star, and we just signed him for the minimum, tells you two things, and I was honest with Dre, is one, we were lucky to get you, but two, you got to get back to where you were. And that's what we're going to try to get him back to.
The next player I want to ask you about is Tyrese Maxey.
Yeah.
There's a lot of buzz and chatter about Tyrese in this building, in the city, on the internet. What excites you most about getting to continue this journey with him as the only NBA coach he's ever had? What are you hoping to see from him in his second year?
Love him. I hate to almost say that because my coaches accused me of favoritism with Tyrese. So, I just think the kid works his butt off. He's got a ton of talent. I think he's going to be a special player. I believe that. That doesn't mean that's going to happen, but I believe that. And I believe it because he has this ability and he works and he's high character. Usually those three things are can't miss. And so I feel really strong about him.
You've started lots of training camps in your career as a player, now as a coach.
Yeah.
How do you feel walking into the building the morning of media day or the morning, maybe tomorrow, of the first official day of training camp? What gets you still excited about these experiences?
Just the anticipation of getting started, to see where the guys are mentally. The harshest thing I told our guys was recently, when you watch Game 7, the only thing they screamed out to me, they screamed to the screen to me, is we were not ready. We just were not mentally. It'll be interesting to see us this year. I do think we're going to take that focus jump that a team has to take to be the winner. And we'll see. That's why I can't wait to get started.
Tobias stands out to me as someone who, after Game 7, was really emotional, and it clearly really hit him hard.
Yeah.
Is there a silver lining in the pain that you guys felt in that Game 7? How much can it motivate you to move forward into this season and be more prepared for that type of moment when it inevitably comes?
Yeah, well, it better, number one. It should motivate us. I guess I would rather have won and won it all and not learn the lesson. But if you're going to learn a lesson, that wasn't a bad lesson for us to learn.
This is my last question, and I asked everybody on the roster as well as Daryl and Elton. If you had to give yourself some advice in the first year when you were a head coach, just feeling this out, now being decorated and ending up where you are, what advice would you give to younger Doc?
Oh, man. Be stubborn like you were, but stay open. Stay open-minded, listen better, and then communicate better. I don't think, no matter, especially in coaching, there is no line to communication that you can't do a better job of it. And so I work on that every day. But if I could tell younger Doc that to older Doc, it would definitely have been that.
Good advice. I will take it myself.
All right.
Doc, pleasure to sit with you in person finally.
Finally, yes.
Best of luck as training camp gets underway.
Thanks.